Shakti Seer 2.
Just take a slow and deep breath and find your center point. Conditions are always in the mind. They arise and pass away. They're unsatisfactory, not self. Sometimes one has a very important message in one's life. We tend to believe those messages. But what we can know is that those are changing conditions. And if we patiently endure through that, then the things change automatically, on their own. And we have the openness and clarity of mind to act spontaneously, rather than react to conditions. With bare attention, with mindfulness, things go on their own. You don't have to get rid of them because everything that begins ends. There is nothing to get rid of. You just have to be patient with them and allow things to take their natural course into cessation. When you are patient, allowing things to cease, then you begin to know cessation, silence, emptiness, clarity. The mind clears, stillness. The mind is still vibrant. It's not oblivious, repressed, or asleep, and you can hear the silence of the mind. To allow cessation means that we have to be very kind, very gentle, and patient, humble, not taking sides with anything, the good, the bad, the pleasure, or the pain. Gentle recognition allows things to change according to their nature, without interfering, so that we learn to turn away from seeking, absorption into the objects of the senses. We find our peace in the emptiness of the mind, in its clarity, in its silence. When your mind is quiet, listen, and you can hear that vibrational sound in the mind, the sound of silence. What is it? Is it an ear sound, or is it an outward sound? Is it the sound of the mind, or the sound of the nervous system, or what? Whatever it is, it's always there. And it can be used in meditation as something to turn towards. Recognizing that all that arises passes away, we begin to look at that which does not arise or pass, and is always there. If you start to trying to think about that sound, having a name for it, or claim any kind of attainments from it, then of course you are using it in the wrong way. It's merely a standard to refer to when you've reached the limit of the mind, and the end of the mind as far as we can observe it. So from that position you can begin to watch. You can begin to think and still hear that sound. If you're thinking deliberately, that is. But once you're lost in thought, then you forget it and you don't hear it anymore. So if you get lost in thought, then once you're aware that you're thinking again, turn to that sound and listen to it for a long time. Where before you'd get carried away by emotions or obsessions or hindrances that arise, now you can practice by gently, very patiently reflecting on the particular condition of the mind as anicca, dukkha, anatta, and then letting go of it. It's a gentle, subtle letting go, not a slam-bang rejection of any condition. So the attitude, the right understanding, is more important than anything else. Don't make anything out of that sound of silence. People get excited, thinking they've attained something or discovered something, but that in itself is another condition. You create around the silence. This is a very cool practice, not an exciting one. Use it skillfully and gently for letting go, rather than for holding on to a view that you've attained something. If there's anything that blocks anyone in their meditation, is the view that they've attained something from it. Now you can reflect on the conditions of the body and mind and concentrate on them. You can sweep through the body and recognize sensations, such as vibrations in the hand or feet. Or you can concentrate on any point in your body. Feel the sensation of the tongue in the mouth, touching the palate, or the upper lip on the lower. Or just bring into consciousness the sensation of the wetness of the mouth, or the pressure of the clothes on your body. Just those subtle sensations that we don't bother to notice. Reflecting on these subtle physical sensations, concentrate on them and your body will relax. The human body likes to be noticed. It appreciates being concentrated on in a gentle and peaceful way. But if you're inconsiderate and hate the body, it really starts to become quite unbearable. Remember, we have to live within this structure for the rest of our lives. So you'd better learn how to live with it, live in it with a good attitude. You say, oh, the body doesn't matter, it's just a disgusting thing, gets old, gets sick, and dies. The body doesn't matter, it's the mind that counts. The attitude is quite common among Buddhists, but it's actually the patience to concentrate on your body, other than out of vanity. Vanity is a misuse of the human body, but this sweeping awareness is skillful. It's not to enforce a sense of ego, but simply to act of goodwill and consideration for a living body, which is not you anyway. So your meditation now is on the five khandhas and the emptiness of the mind. Investigate these until you fully understand that all that arises passes away and is not self. Then there's no grasping of anything as being oneself, and you are free from that desire to know yourself as a quality or a substance. This is liberation from birth and death. This path of wisdom is not one of developing concentration to get into a trance state, get high, and get away from things. You have to be very honest about intention. Are we meditating to run away from things? Are we trying to get in a state where we can suppress all things? This wisdom practice is a very gentle one of khandhas, the 5 categories through which the Buddha summarized the existential human being, i.e. the body, rupa, feelings, vedana, perception, sanna, mental formation, sankhara, the sense consciousness, vijnana, in simple terms, the body and mind. Even allowing the most horrible thoughts to appear and let them go. You have an escape hatch. It's like a safety valve where you can let off steam when there's too much pressure. Normally, if you dream a lot, then you can let off steam in sleep. But no wisdom comes from that, does it? That is just like being dumb, a dumb animal. You develop a habit of doing something and then getting exhausted, crashing out, getting up, doing something again, crashing out again. But this path is a thorough investigation and an understanding of the limitations of the mortal condition of the body and the mind. Now you're developing the ability to turn away from the conditioned and to release your identity from mortality. You're breaking through the real illusion, or through the illusion that you're a mortal thing. But I'm not telling you that you're an immortal creature either, because you'll start grasping at that. My true nature is one with ultimate absolute truth. I am one with the Lord. My real nature is deathless, timeless eternity of bliss. But you notice that the Buddha refrained from using poetic inspiring phrases, not that they're wrong, but because we attach to them. We would settle for that identity with the ultimate, or one with God, or the eternal bliss of the deathless realm and so forth. You get very starry-eyed saying things like that. But it's much more skillful to watch that tendency to want to name or conceive of what is inconceivable, to be able to tell somebody else or describe it just to feel that you have attained something. It is much more important to watch than to follow it. Not that you haven't realized anything either, but be careful and that vigilant not to attach to the realization. Because if you do, of course, this will just take you to despair again. If you get carried away, as soon as you realize you got carried away, then stop. Certainly don't go around feeling guilty about it or being discouraged, but just stop that. Calm down, let go of it. Means that we have to be very kind, very gentle, and patient, humble, not taking sides with anything, the good, the bad, the pleasure, or the pain. Gentle recognition allows things to change according to their nature, without interfering, so that we learn to turn away from it. When you are patient, allowing things to cease, then you begin to know cessation, silence, emptiness, clarity. The mind clears, stillness. The mind is still vibrant. It's not oblivious, repressed, or asleep, and you can hear the silence of the mind. To allow cessation, and we have the openness and clarity of mind to act spontaneously, rather than react to conditions. With bare attention, with mindfulness, Things go on their own. You don't have to get rid of them because everything that begins ends. There is nothing to get rid of. You just have to be patient with them and allow things to take their natural course into cessation. Conditions are always in the mind. They arise and pass away. They're unsatisfactory, not self. Sometimes one has a very important message in one's life. We tend to believe those messages. But what we can know is that those are changing conditions. And if we patiently endure through that, then the things change automatically, on their own.
Shakti Seer 2.
Just take a slow and deep breath and find your center point.